right, we're going to be safe. Now we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do a thing called axe, right? So you see axe? So what axe means, and it's an easy way for you guys to always kind of remember this, right, is always assume every gun is loaded, right? So every time you guys touch one of these things, think of it as being loaded, right? Meaning it's dangerous, right? What we want to do is we want to see means we want to control where the barrel goes. It means we never want to point it at somebody, right? Because if we point something at somebody, we could hurt them. We never. So when we're up there, we're always gonna. Every time I hand you a gun, you're gonna think you're gonna pretend it's loaded. Even if it's not, you're gonna just pretend. You're always gonna control where the barrel is. So you're never gonna point it at each other. We're always gonna point it downrange. Now, when I say downrange, what happens is that I've got some targets here for you guys, right? I got that big one for both your moms, right? And I got 4 targets for each of you. And then I got a couple, like I've got Maya, Alexa, Katie, and Lauren, right? And then I've got an extra one like that, right? That one's for adults later. What we're going to do is we're going to have this thing called a firing line, which means, and I put a cord down there too, we won't cross this line no matter what. So if I'm with one of you here, right, by the bench, the 3 of you are going to stand right here and not move. It means you do not cross this line when I'm here, okay? And that really goes back to this. We want to control. So we're always shooting. Here's a little targets, right? We're always pointing our rifle always that way. And the reason, if you look, what I've done is I've purposely made it. There's a big cliff right there, way out there, right? So that means that when we shoot through the paper, right, it's not going to hurt anybody. Because what can happen, and this is important too, is that you don't see it in the movies, but if you shoot out of a rifle, even a .22, that bullet can travel really, really far distance. So think of it from the townhouse, right? Look at this. So if you shot that .22 there outside our house, you know, the townhouse, you could easily hit the store. It won't go in a straight line, but if you shot it up in the air, it'll go all the way over, and you could hit somebody at the store where you guys go buy candy. That's pretty far, isn't it? Right? And they can easily do that with these rifles. So that's why it's really important when we're shooting these. We want to really control. We want to go back to this axe. We want to always assume it's loaded. We want to control where we shoot the gun, right?
Can I interrupt for one sec? Do Lauren and Alexa know what the barrel of the gun is? When Dad's saying
do you guys know?
I can't remember.
Okay, that's really good. So,
Thanks for reminding.
what we have here, guys, is we have basically a rifle. Now it's unloaded. I've seen it's unloaded. I've already checked it. So right back to here, what am I doing? I'm always assuming, every time I pick one up, I'm assuming it's loaded. If you see, I'm controlling the barrel, right? This is called the barrel, which means I'm pointing. I'm not pointing at anybody. Like, see, like this pen, I'm not pointing it as I'm turning around. I'm pointing it in a safe direction, right? Now this is called a trigger. This is what we're not going to put. This is when, you know, you see in the movies, people are always pushing like that. When I tell you to actually put your finger on it, you can. But when we hold or when we handle a gun, first and foremost, we want to make sure that this is pointed in the right direction, and this is off the trigger. Your finger, this is called the trigger right here. We want to make sure your finger is off that. So when we're at the bench, we're going to line it up. I'm going to tell you now you can put your finger on the trigger. Then you can actually put your finger on it and press when you're ready. And it'll be a little bit of a kick. It won't be much, though, right? So that's why we always want to assume it's loaded. We want to pretend it's loaded, so we don't want to hurt anybody. We want to control, right, the barrel. We want to make sure it's always in a safe distance. So that means that, remember that firing line I told you guys about? This firing line? Which means this barrel is always, 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 always going to be pointed that direction towards our targets. It's never, even when, say for example, you shoot and you get a really good, because I know you guys are all going to do really well, and you think, oh, I want to look, you're not going to turn around like that. I'll be there with you. Don't worry, every time you guys pull the trigger, I'll be right there. But we're not going to do this. We're not going to go, bang, oh, and then start moving around, okay? And what we want to do is we always want to point this. If you guys are unsure, point it in the ground. Yeah.
Can you keep the target after?
Yes, you can keep. I can put your names on them. Everyone's got a name on, so you can control that, right? Now, see, so we assume it's always loaded. We control the barrel, right? And the T is trigger, right? So we want to keep our finger out of the trigger. So we always use the word, the T for trigger, so we know to keep our finger off, because that's how a gun goes off. We actually pull the trigger, and then the bullet comes out the end, okay? There's a little thing called firing pin, and it hits, right? And the S is we want to secure it, meaning we want to be safe. We always want to make sure. So safety is a big thing. So like I said today, this morning, because we're just starting out, we're not going to worry too much about hitting that piece of paper, because that's why I put a couple pieces of paper without any target. So we just want to try and hit the piece of paper, and we'll work on that. But we're not really worried about that. We're just worried about where this bullet goes. Okay? So what's axe for? What do we do with, what's the A?
Awesome.
Awesome. Excellent. What's the C?
Control.
Give me some sugar. What's the T?
Trigger.
Awesome.
You didn't do that.
I did. Safety. Safety. You're out. You're out of the class. Okay?
Secure.
So what's the A?
Assume.
What's the C?
Control.
What's the T?
Trigger.
What does it mean for T? Keep your finger
On the trigger.
off. Okay. That's okay. That's all right. And what's the S?
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, we want to see it safe. We want to secure it. We want to see it safe. Okay? So what we're going to do, guys, and this is the other thing we're going to do, is everybody, right, is going to wear some eye protection. Okay? So everybody gets some eye protection, right? So,
Thank you.
Alright.
You get to keep it.
no, you have to keep it.
Katie. Fashion statement du jour. Woohoo! Strike a pose.
Okay. There you go. Hang on. And everybody here is you're going to have ear protection as well, right? So you guys can do one-on-one if you want. Take one. Remember, you got 2 ears, so there's only one in one each. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, so this is important, guys.
Yeah, don't put them in yet.
Yeah, this is important. You want to listen. So, we never, ever, 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 ever shoot a gun, right? Unless we have, these are called eye protection, unless we have eye protection, right? Glasses, or, and hearing. Now, what's the most important thing when we're around guns? Safety. Yes, Lauren, I heard you say you're just about to go safety, right? Excellent. That's the most important. Why? Why are we sitting here right now? We're going to go have fun.
You don't want to accidentally shoot someone.
Awesome. And that's exactly it. Guns, you know what? Guns, guys, can be dangerous, but they can be very fun. They can do a lot of things. A lot of women go to the Olympics shooting guns. There's some of the best shooters in the world are all women, right? So what I'm trying to say is guns, even though you see in the movies, it's not realistic. It's not real. Some of the stuff you see in TV and movies. But what we're going to show you out here is we just want to show you how to be safe and have fun. And that's really all this is about. And then like I said, right now for this first session, we're just going to go out as a group, and I'm going to do one at a time. And we're going to basically shoot one at a time, right? And then we're not going to worry about hitting bullseyes and all that kind of stuff. And I know you guys are excited about doing that. That's why the first couple of targets, if you see over on the far right, there's 2 empty targets. And all they have is a squiggly line, just so you can actually see against the white. That's what we're going to shoot at the beginning. Everybody has their name on one, right? But we'll do that. So, again, Alexa, what's the A?
Assume.
Assume what? Assume it's loaded, right? Yeah, good. Meaning, we don't want to ever put her thing. Excellent.
Don't ever want to
Let's see.
point it at
Control.
anybody.
What do we want to control? What part of that gun do we want to control? The
barrel?
Excellent. Why? Because that's where the bullet comes out of the barrel like that, right? So we never want to point a barrel at anybody or anything we don't want to destroy, right? So what that means